Good morning. We're back again in the Flattening the Learning Curve series today to further address the joining of blocks. In our prior video, we addressed joining these blocks with the zipper join coming up on the columns. When you're creating these modular blocks, because they have rounded corners, we have to address the corners with our join. We have to address the corners that are on the outer edge of the blanket, and then we have to address the corners that come together here in the center. I've already done these here, but I have a whole nother side to do, so I'd like to do one with you today. This block here is done, as you can see, and what I've done is I've the column join was going up here, and I just went right over it, and I caught up some stitches in the corner to make a neat join in that corner that doesn't have holes around the four sides, and where it almost looks like it just cables right over it. Before I go to the four corners, let's look at this one where these two blocks join. These are two blocks that are in the Wacky Weave Mystery Cal in Alona Slow Life Creations Facebook group. And that is a free cal that's currently going on. We're in the middle of the COVID quarantine here, so that'll give you a date range of what we're talking about. Should somebody be watching this at a later date, and for some reason that cal's not there. This here is the fish block, which I believe was designed by, I'm not going to say it because I don't recall, but in any case, that's not one of my personal designs, and nor is this clouds pattern here. Both are by the other designers that collaboratively join or hosting the cal. We were all new designers, and Hilda in Alona Slow Life was so gracious to allow us to have a venue to kind of launch from. So here we go. When we join in the columns or any of these modular blocks, we inevitably end up with a V where the blocks are joined. This particular one here seems like I could have come up another stitch anyway on my join when I was doing the zipper, or maybe one even came out. But in any case, I'm going to use this one as an example. I'm going to anchor my yarn in the center of the two blocks, right between it. I'm going to just bring it up and get it so that it's in the center. Can't see it, so that's fine. From there, if you recall, with the column joins, we were picking up one leg of the chain on each side, on each block on each side. It was the one that was furthest in that we're picking up. For this, I'm going to actually pick up both legs here, and I'm going to just start recreating some stitch, just gently pulling it together without pulling too hard. So I went under two, and then I went on one side, and I went under two on the other, and now I'm going to go down again in the center, okay, of those, just to get that, to start closing this up. What I am trying to do is get these to be level together like this, so that I no longer have a V, and that when I come across later for the outside border, I have a continuous chain and don't have to be going down in this ditch to be able to chain to create my border, and so that if I didn't go down the ditch, I wouldn't end up with, a big hole there. In New England, we'd call that a pothole that you can fall into. So again, I'm going to bring my yarn up to the top so that I can go down from the front public side through through two legs of the chain on one block. I'm going to come up through the chain on the other block, and I'm going to just gently pull that so that it closes it up a little. Okay. And then I'm going to come down into the center below where I just made that stitch. There we go, we got one. So now we have probably one more to do, and that's right here where this is starting to turn out. This is going to be the chain that I want to have as my top chain for when I'm doing my outside border. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my yarn up again to the front, and I'm going to pick up the 2 legs of the stitch right below that, and recognizing that I want to have this chain here as my top chain. On the other block, I'm going to come in just below that, pick up 2 legs, and again just kind of draw that together neatly and come down into the fabric just below. All right, so I've closed up the ditch, so to speak, but I still have what's not a continuum from the one on my left-hand block to that chain on the edge on my left-hand block to the chain that I've chosen as my first one on the right-hand block. So what I am going to do now is I'm going to come through that first one on the left. I'm leaving my yarn in the back, by the way, and I'm going to come up through the 2 legs of that left-hand stitch, and I'm going to draw it up gently. Don't pull it too tight. And now to come back in, I'm going to go through what I determined to be the first stitch of the right-hand block for the border, this one right here. What this is going to do is basically create another chain. It just did right here. It creates another chain and gives us a continuum chain to go with when we're doing our outside border. So I'm going to just kind of make sure that's nice and neat. And then I'm going to weave my end in the back so that it's done. I don't like to have a lot of my loose ends. I like to do them as I go along. So I'm going to go ahead and weave that into the back to secure it. I'm not too worried about this one coming undone because it's going to end up getting caught up in the outside border. But in any case, here we go. It's all woven in. All right. I'm going to move now to, and that's going to be the same to close up those little V's like that and get that continuum on the top is going to be the same whether you're talking about the V formed up at the column on the top, on the side or top, or whether it's what forms on the outer edge when we do the horizontal joints. So that's how to get rid of that V shape. Alrighty, now for the horizontal joining. As you can see, the zipper join has been done on the column going up. What that creates is, you know, that single crochet line that's coming right up from the bottom to the top of the entire blanket. I have actually joined these horizontally here already, but I want you to see the resultant join that we have before going through doing one with you. So we had this zipper chain coming up here, which, you know, inevitably results in 4 corners here needing to be addressed when we come across on the horizontal and neatly addressed. I've done that here, and what I ultimately ended up doing was just going right over the top of that chain, kind of coming in here into these 4 corners and picking up you know, an extra stitch when I did that. But to continue across, or not so much an extra stitch, but, you know, just picking them up and creating a chain, a zipper join going across. The result is really pretty nice. It's neat. It doesn't have any holes going through that, you know, so any unnecessary holes going through to the back as you do it. And it basically looks like almost a cabled finish there. So I did one side of these, and now I have one more to do, and I'm going to do that. The other side to do, all of the layers of the other side to do, but I'm going to do that with you right now. So I'm going to move my blanket over here and hopefully not knock out my camera when I do it. Just sitting under my keyboard, which is going to mess up my video. I hope not. Oh, we're still going. Okay. So if I turn this so that I get let me pause this while I turn it so I don't keep this going. while I do that. All right, setting this up to show you turned out to be a little more challenging than I thought. I needed to rotate my work so that now that horizontal line is going up, vertically in front of me so that I can actually work it with you. And this is a lot of blanket to have on one little table. And frankly, I would normally have this just on my lap on my couch to do it, but this is a better taping recording situation here. Okay, so as you can see, I have my blocks stabilized using the Miracle clips or Wonder clips, or they're not branded. They're actually the ones that I bought on Amazon that are kind of a generic. Okay, so here's our prior join, and I'm going to remove this clip so we can see here that I have already on this side here firmed that all up, for the four corners. But now I have now I'm going to go across. Now I have the zipper join from the other row in front of me here. So I need to deal with it. I can't just go over it into the other corner. I actually need to address that zipper join to be a stitch and to travel across it basically without um, looking too messy. So that's going to be the same as the zipper join. It's going to be just a single crochet. You're just going to pull it up. I should say it's a zipper join. I mean a slip stitch. Okay, so that's what I just did there. I just went under it. Let me undo that and show it to you again. Okay, so there's the zipper join from the prior column. I have one stitch right there that's in between the two, in between the two sides of this block and this block, these blocks this way. And my yarn's here. I'm just wrapping it around. I'm pulling it underneath that zipper join from the prior row, and it's a slip stitch, just like every other stitch. And I'm just putting it there. So now I've got my traversing chain. So now I'm in my corner, and my concern is that these ones right here won't necessarily join as neatly and that I might end up with a hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually, and this is somewhat, take it as you may, as you go kind of thing, but I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple from actually their legs from the prior stitching that are there, and I'm going to take one or two from one side and one or two from the other block and just pull up a stitch into that little space using those. So I get another chain that traverses, and just kind of like I went up the hill and now I just went down the hill. And now I'm ready to go ahead and start my regular zipper join going up the column, the rest of the column. So we go down. I'll explain that with the next one again, just in case somebody hasn't seen the prior video. Just so you know, I had already begun these joins on the other side for these columns or these horizontal lines. So what I did was I pre-measured out some bobbins of yarn that would hopefully go all the way across, be long enough to go all the way across. So I have them like at each of these columns already have them in place so that now when I'm doing the second side of it, the yarn's already there. I don't have to have all kinds of ends, and I'll continue with the one that I was using in the prior when I was joining before. Having trouble seeing my chains here. Okay, so we go down one side, we go up and under on the other. And remember, we're only taking one leg of each block's chain edge. So here, there, one, so I mean one stitch for each of the blocks. Go down the inside one, come up and under the inside one on the other block, and chain it up. So this is fully explained in the other video, but just so that you can see it's now just the same thing, as we did before. It was just simply how do we address these four corners that come together that could potentially have little holes, kind of unsightly holes there. Crochet by nature, is a little more airy in that sense than standard like stockinette knitting or garter stitch knitting, or unless you're getting into a lacy knitting. It's a little holier by nature, certainly with mesh it is. So there's that join. Our join goes up and over, kind of just traverses the little hill and comes back down it. We have a neat stitch on this side that we kind of created, and then a neat stitch on this side that we created to basically traverse that little hill that those zipper joins make. So I will complete out this blanket, and the next step on it, next step and final step before shipping it off to Every Ray, is going to be adding an outside border on the whole thing. I haven't decided yet what I want to do for that. I might reach out to the group and see what they think. If I don't think this needs a lot of extra border, so I may just do a half double crochet around the entire outer edge, but that's to be determined. And when I do, I will come back and let everyone know. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope this was of help to you. Be well, please, and be at peace.